Life doesn't just stand still after a divorce, but sometimes your court orders sure feel like they do. If you're sensing that disconnect between your legal agreement and your day-to-day reality, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're about to dive into the world of financial forensics and show you how to build a rock-solid case to update your divorce decree. Does this sound familiar? That financial plan, the one that made perfect sense a couple of years ago, now feels totally out of sync? Maybe your income took a hit, or your ex got a huge promotion, or maybe your child's needs have just grown in ways you never, ever could have planned for. The good news is the legal system knows life happens. It's designed to adapt to these big changes. But, and this is a big but, it operates on one thing: proof. It is not enough to just feel like things are different. So that's what we're focused on today: how to build a powerful, fact-based case to get your legal agreements to match your life as it is right now. Okay, before you can even start building your case, you have to know the #1 rule of the game. What's the legal benchmark? What does a court actually need to see to even consider a change? Let's break down the one phrase that matters more than anything else. Here's the big legal term you need to know: material change in circumstances. Sounds complicated, right? But let's just cut through all the jargon. The two words that really matter here are substantial and ongoing. A 1-month blip in income or some temporary expense, that's not going to cut it. The court needs to see a fundamental, lasting shift in your financial world. So what kind of real-world events actually meet that standard? Well, here are the most common triggers. We're talking about a massive promotion or, on the flip side, an unexpected job loss. A new medical diagnosis for your child that comes with a ton of new costs. Or, and listen up because this is a big one, discovering that your ex has a source of income that was hidden from the court. These are the kinds of things that can justify a modification. All right, so you've identified a valid reason. What's next? Well, now you have to prove it. The responsibility, the burden of proof, falls completely on you. And in a courtroom, that means one thing above all else: documentation. So here's the key. Every single modification case, when you boil it all down, comes to this one simple but incredibly powerful comparison. You have to be able to show the judge a clear picture of the finances then, when the last order was made, and compare it to the financial picture now. That gap between then and now, that is where your case is won or lost. I know this can feel super overwhelming, so we're going to break it down into a really simple, memorable framework. I want you to think of your case as a structure that's built on 3 essential pillars. If you get these right, your argument is going to be unshakable. Here's why these 3 pillars work so well together. First, you establish the baseline. This is a crystal clear snapshot of how things looked financially when the last order was signed. It's your starting point. Next, you document the present, a detailed, evidence-based look at today's reality. And finally, and this is where you really make your case, you connect the dots. You're not just throwing data at the judge, you're telling a story, explaining exactly how and why this change is a big deal. Okay, so we've moved from the framework to the actual detective work. If you've got a gut feeling that there's more to the story, that the income being reported just isn't the whole picture, where do you even start looking for clues? Now, this is a core principle of financial forensics. A person can fudge a tax return, they can hide a paycheck, but it is incredibly difficult to hide a lifestyle. That new car, the fancy vacations, the constant dinners out, those things leave a trail. Spending patterns almost always tell the truth, even when income statements don't. Sometimes a simple picture is your most powerful weapon. When you can present a judge with a chart just like this one, the difference is undeniable. I mean, if someone claims they only make $3,000 a month, but you can prove they're spending $10,000, you've just raised a massive red flag that demands an explanation. So if that lifestyle gap exists, where is all that extra money actually coming from? In today's economy, the ways to hide income have multiplied. We're way beyond just cash under the table now. This is where things get really interesting. The key thing to get here is that the whole digital economy has created a sort of shadow financial system. Your investigation has to go way beyond old-school bank accounts. We're talking about income from gig work, payments flying back and forth on apps like Venmo or Zelle that are so easy to overlook, and even major financial help from a new partner that frees up their declared income. You really have to look everywhere. And remember, this isn't just about income. A child's life changes, and their needs are an equally powerful reason for a modification. I mean, the basic needs of a toddler are totally different from the costs of a teenager who suddenly needs specialized tutoring or ongoing therapy or plays expensive competitive sports. Documenting these new, substantial expenses is a totally compelling reason for a court to take a second look. Okay, you've done the forensic work. You've gathered the documents. You've found the clues. Now, how in the world do you put it all together into a clear, logical, and persuasive argument that a judge can easily follow and, hopefully, agree with? You follow this formula. It is a simple, 6-step story that any judge is going to appreciate because it is so clear. You start with the past, you show them the present, you highlight the difference, and then you explain the impact on the child. Then you connect it all back to the law and you make your specific request. This approach just cuts through the confusion and gets right to the point. Knowing what to do is only half the battle. Honestly, knowing what to avoid is just as critical. So stay away from these common mistakes. Swap out speculation for documents. Argue the legal standard, not your personal feelings of what's fair. And please, please, please present your evidence in a clear, organized way. A messy pile of papers can sink even the strongest case. If I could have you take away just one single piece of advice, it's this. This quote says it all. If you make a serious accusation, like hiding income, without concrete proof, the bank statements, the Venmo records, the charts, you will absolutely destroy your own credibility. Your exhibits, they are your proof. So I'll leave you with this final question to think about. When you apply this framework to your own life, when you start gathering the documents, what story starts to emerge? The numbers don't lie. Your job is just to find that story and present it clearly, because that story might be the key to finally updating your divorce decree to reflect your life as it is today.